The majority of Silicon Valley doesn't understand the rest of America.
I think Silicon Valley definitely is in a bubble. In some ways, that's to their advantage. That's what lets them see the future.
I think it's as simple as you solve the problems you're exposed to. Most of the people building the top technology products that we use today live in cities.
I think the thing is in Silicon Valley, people are really focused on places where they're incentivized, right? They want to be involved in things that are sexy. So when you look at growth in the valley, you know, it's easier to grow users and numbers than solve a lot of these problems that don't affect them.
I think the reason that Silicon Valley isn't tackling the hard problems is it's a myopic view in terms of what America really is. You have a group, kind of a small insular group in Silicon Valley that's solving problems that they think America has, but they're really kind of not in tune with, I think, the rest of the country. Oftentimes you get groupthink, ignoring some of the real problems and the real needs that exist in Middle America.
My impression is that they're taking on some of the biggest challenges that are facing all of America. Austin's one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and like many other cities, our biggest problems are transportation, affordability, inequality, and a lot of those issues are being addressed through technology. I feel like they're kind of hitting it head on.
I think for far too long, Silicon Valley has been focused on solving the easy problems, the quick-funded consumer apps. But I think it's time for all of us collectively, not just Silicon Valley, but America, to really double down to say, how do we solve health issues like obesity, heart issues, food, water, supply issues, issues that affect not only us as Americans, but us globally as well.
If you're living in the countryside, you're going to solve a different set of problems. You might think more about all things like farming or long distances or manufacturing.
How big are these problems? How excited are people to solve? Are they to solve these problems like farming? Farming is definitely a problem, you know, and there's lots of ways that it could be improved. But I think it's just something that doesn't excite them as much.
Whether it's, you know, Minnesota or South Carolina or Nebraska, I think you've got untapped opportunity, ideas, innovation, creativity. That just really isn't being valued as highly as it could.
Well, you know, it's hard not to say that Silicon Valley is the best place for startups. It's the Hollywood, right, of movies. And so there's a lot of great things about Silicon Valley, but there's a bunch of reasons why people choose to be in other places. Austin is just consistently ranked one of the top startup cities in the world. It's the #1 place to start a new business. It was best place for a software engineer. It's been the best place for young people, for educated people, for whatever it might be. And so all those same reasons that make people want to move here make startups and businesses want to move here.
When folks get into the city and realize that, you know, we have paved roads and high-speed internet, right? It's debunking the myth that, you know, we live on extended farmland and acres of, you know, cornfields, if you will. I think what makes Omaha different, and cities like Omaha different, is this idea we have a fresh view. We're trying to solve real problems and not create the next hot consumer app that's going to be valued at $10, $15 million pre-revenue, right? We know the best way to solve problems around whatever industry it may be. That's in our backyard. How do you tap what Silicon Valley has, you know, couple it with the resources that we have here in Omaha, and really solve, again, those big problems?
I think over the past year or two, there have been quite a few wake-up calls, whether it's the recent election or Brexit or the Uber and Lyft being kicked out of Austin, that really just showed us that it's not quite as black and white as everybody thought it might be.
When you look at, you know, people in the valley, you know, 90% of the people that they're connected to, or 95% of the people they're connected to, are going to be thinking the same things that they think. Once you start to get outside that bubble in the real world, just like if you get outside that bubble on the social network, you'll start to get views of other people as well.
You have to just go outside of your network in some way and just talk to more people. Not just for Silicon Valley people, but for rural people as well. This is a two-way issue, right? Both sides need to do more to reach out to each other and to spend more time with each other and to understand each other's way of life.
Now is the perfect time to say, okay, Silicon Valley, we don't understand it all, right? But we want to learn. We want to figure out how we can reinvest in these communities and how we can find the best and the brightest, and not necessarily import them all into Silicon Valley, but how do you build and help these communities stand on their own and essentially contribute to the greater good of America, frankly, overall.